passing.
Let's try this one more time.
Can they hear us?
No, they can't. All right. Let's try this one more time. Hey, everybody.
Good evening and welcome.
Welcome to giveaway number 11. This should have been 15, but we had some issues with YouTube, and so far it seems good. We're at 0 drop frames, a beautiful upload of 2.6 megabits per second. And speaking of beautiful, I'm here with John Young of Disc Jockey News. If you guys are not subscribed to Disc Jockey News, John, tell them how they can find you.
You guys can find us out on any of the social media platforms, or basically whatever their platform is, whether it's twitter.com and then Disc Jockey News, and that is us. We are there on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, other forms of social media that have came and gone already. You know, we're there.
Absolutely, and it's very important to remember to type the S in Disc Jockey before trying to search Disc Jockey News. So
that probably would be yes. If you don't,
I mean, I don't know.
Different.
I don't know if you run that other website, John, but pretty interesting.
You know, maybe I should. Maybe there's more money in that website. I'm just saying, you know, we're always looking for, you know, diversify.
So guys, if we have any issues where YouTube says, screw you, John has my stream key, it'll still be on this same video, so don't go anywhere. We may just be down for a second while John quickly kicks his back up or gets his up and running, but we should be okay. We have no idea what happened. We've had YouTube basically investigate it. We've had my ISP come in. We have no idea what's going on. If the audio's low, that would be on your end, my friend. Please make sure to turn your stuff all the way up because I'm pretty loud over here.
Me too.
Yeah, so I can't make it much louder than that. Not without really distorting. Unless you're talking about John, then I can turn his mic up a little bit.
I can turn it up a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think you probably don't need that.
We could also add this effect here.
Ooh. That's fancy. So before we go too far, Naldo, we got our drawing and different things like that. But
yeah,
is that a new chair?
It is a new chair. This is the AK Racing. I'll later post the link to Mass Drop. So if you haven't heard of Mass Drop, and if you do sign on there, make sure you guys use the link that I'm going to provide, so that way I get bonus money for a referral. But basically, it's group buys, guys, and I got this chair for about $200 off. It's wonderful. It's basically a racing chair, and I would stand up, but there's a very good chance I'm not wearing pants right now. Dead ass serious. So no, but in all seriousness, it's super comfy chair. It's like if I'm sitting in an actual race car, not a Honda, an actual race car. So anyhow, today, cool. I mean, John, it has been an incredible set of live streams. I have no idea how the heck you do this every summer. I basically want to kill myself halfway through the live stream. And not because of the audience, because I mean, the people in the chat are great, but it's just all the technical BS. I don't think people understand how much work it takes. And then when you get the one person that tries to tell us how to do our jobs, like, could you just kill yourself? Like right now, just go away.
Where's that slapping? Where's that slap button on a computer? Where?
Right. But anyhow, so John, we are disc jockeys.
True. True.
And what we do is, I cannot turn up the volume any more than it already is. Hang on.
Saying your microphone's quieter than mine, so.
And it's funny because on mine, I'm looking at the meter. Mine is way louder than yours.
Way louder. Well, that did bring you up. I can definitely tell you're louder now.
I don't know what's going on. Let me try that. That better now? So, so we're disc jockeys. And we really can't afford to get sick during the events, can we, John?
Like not when we're getting before, during, and really to a point. After, it's not some, that's not a big deal. But because if you're not performing, you're not putting food on the table. If I'm not performing, I'm not putting food on the table. So sickness is like this horrible, evil thing that we just don't want to talk about or don't want to think about.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of DJs like, well, I have somebody I can subcontract or I have other people. If you're a multi-op, for the most part, you'll be good. Maybe. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that even if you're a multi-op and even if your DJ works directly for you, if the bride at the last second gets another DJ, they're already going to be disappointed. And even if it's because you were sick, you had Ebola, you were dying, whatever, if the other guy isn't as perfect as what you pitched yourself to be, they're going to find every little reason to complain whether you were sick or not. But if you are not a multi-op and you're subcontracting off another DJ, that means you're giving money to somebody else. And John, I don't know about you, but I really hate giving money away.
Oh, for sure. And that's one of the big things. I've had a few friends who have had issues recently where they couldn't do the event. It's one of those things in your head. As soon as Arnaldo, if you or I couldn't make it, and we're like, oh, we can send even one of our staff. The first thing I get in my head is that I'm going to probably end up having to refund a level or all of the money.
Yep.
It's just the way it is, because they're hiring, to a point, they hire Arnaldo because of your skill. They're hiring me because of my skill. And it doesn't matter if I'm bringing someone in who's better than me. It's not me. And there's going to be someone who will, as you're just going on, that's going to say, no, it wasn't you. I have contracted you. So I just get it in my head that if that happens, I'm going to probably be sending money back.
So have you gotten sick before an event, or even worse, during the event?
I haven't, and not the closest thing is I've had, maybe I lost my voice, so I'm sucking on cough drops. Other than that, I have not had any issues. Now, that's not saying that as I've gotten older that I still do some of the same things I did when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we'll get into a little bit more. But so far, I've been good.
So I guess that's been my bragging point to a lot of my friends, and it drives my wife nuts. I have been to a doctor. When I was younger, obviously, like under 5. I have no idea many times my mom took me to a doctor. But I'm from a third world country, so it's not like anybody really is going to trust any doctors there. I do remember my doctor, like pediatrician, giving us oatmeal, like the delicious Gerber baby oatmeal, the bananas. That's really good. But anyhow, other than my pediatrician, I would say once I turned 16, I've been to the doctor, and this isn't like an estimate. I can tell you exactly how many times I've been to the doctor. Twice. That's it. One time because you have to get checked before, for college scholarships of all things, to make sure that I'm not dying. And I actually went to my pediatrician on that. And in Florida, like, I guess a pediatrician can see you until you're 21. And he's like, well, Arnaldo, I can't give you a prostate exam. Yeah, I know. That's exactly why I want you to be my doctor, because I don't need any doctor giving me a prostate exam. Listen, I understand it's a necessity in life, but I'm 18. I don't need your finger. Like, no, just do me a favor. Just check me, make sure that my ears and nose, I don't have any Ebola coming out, anthrax, etc. Sign, great. So that's time number 1. Time number 2 is because my allergies were so bad. Like, I get my nose gets really dry. Even right now, it's completely dry on the inside from allergies. And this was before Allegra was an over-the-counter thing, so I had to get Allegra and I had to go to the doctor for that. Other than that, John, I've never been to the doctor. And I've been sick before. Like, I had 103-degree fever. Drove my wife crazy. She's like, you need to go to the doctor. You can get a seizure, because I don't know if you know, but if your fever gets too high, you can get a seizure.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it'll shut you down.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go to and I'm not telling you guys to do the same thing, please, okay? Don't do the same thing, but I'm like, I know my body. I'm like, I'm going to go to the ER. They're going to charge me $2,500, put me in a tub full of ice, give me potassium, give me Gatorade, and then they're going to charge me another, $1,000 for that. So I put myself in a tub full of ice, and knock on wood, luckily I was okay. And that was actually, that was about 3 or 4 days before the gig, but the gig itself, I was fine. I have never, luckily, knock on wood, been sick before or after. At least, right away. Or sometimes I've been sick like the night before, and then I do a couple of things, which we're going to talk about at this show, and the day of the gig, I'm fine. I've never had to step away because, I got to take a quick chorro break, which is Mexican slang for diarrhea, guys. I never had to take a chorro break in the middle of the first dance or something because McDonald's hit me at the wrong time. And I eat like crap, John, which is really bad because, they say, as soon as you turn 30, everything goes downhill. And I laughed that off. And as soon as I turn 30, all of a sudden, hot dogs, I'm like, nope, can't eat that. I just get sick. It doesn't agree with me. Fried foods, I can't eat. I mean, I can eat some fried foods, but like fried Oreos, the AC Expo, I used to love the fried Oreos over by the border. I can't eat those anymore. Just like now, my body's like, no, you've got me twisted if you think you're going to be putting that in your stomach.
Yep.
So,
that's really been one of the big changes, as you mentioned, when you hit 30. I probably was getting closer to 40 when I would have that, and it would be, the idea was, okay, I'm going to go to the show, and I know I'm going to be having to set up before dinner, and I don't eat during that, so I'd grab a couple of burgers or something, because it was quick and easy.
Mm-hmm.
You get there and you set up, and then you gobble those down, and then I'm doing the final things, and that's when all of a sudden it would be like, oh, this isn't sitting well, so no one's around yet, so it's not a big deal. So those things have really made it so a person's changed. My diet has changed. On a gig day, I'll I have my typical breakfast. I'll have my semi-typical lunch, and I'm now, I'm that guy who's packing sandwiches to go with, because I know exactly how either a ham sandwich or a peanut butter sandwich or something like that reacts with my system, that I know I can eat those things and I'm not going to have that moment you were just referring to that I have to go. And I can't say that. I've eaten Subway on the way home from gigs, and I've had a couple of bad instances with Subway, a bad instance with A&W after a gig, and it's like, you know what? No, I don't want that anymore. I'm going to go with the old reliables that I know will not leave me hanging somewhere.
Absolutely. As DJs, we have really bad eating habits. I mean, it's kind of a force of habit. Every day after my event, I always go pick up a large Polar Pop, and yes, I know soda's bad for you, but you know what? If I don't have sugar in my system, it's bad. I get really, really pissy really fast. So, I mean, this is basically something I wanted to talk about, because I've told my other DJs, I've told my friends, I've told my family, like, look, I do this before, during, and after events, and I feel great. I'll wake up the next day if we have to go to work or whatever. I'll do like this big old prom where I'm putting in a 20-hour day, get 3 hours of sleep, go work at a bridal show, and the night before I had no voice. The morning after, I'm fine, and nobody can tell. And there are ways to even fake it till you make it. And that's really what I want to talk about this one, because people don't realize that even if you are no longer sick or you're trying to play it off, unless you're really good at it, people will know you're sick. They're going to be apprehensive about coming to you, or God forbid you get the bride and groom sick during their honeymoon, or if they get sick from somebody else, they're still going to think it's you. And ultimately, you may think you're fine and you're acting okay, but your performance suffers from it. And again, knock on wood, I've been really lucky. So I wanted to show some of the products that I've used. And again, I've never gone to a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you guys don't go to a doctor, but I personally haven't gone to a doctor. I've been very lucky in that sense, and it has nothing to do with being young, because I'm 31 now, and believe me, and actually, John, I don't know if you know this, did you know there's a second puberty at the age of 30?
I did not.
Yeah, there's no joke for men and women. There's a second puberty at the age of 30. If you guys don't believe me, take a second and look it up right now, second puberty. And I also feel, and I know a lot of DJs are going to be really turned off by this, but, Jason J and I started the hashtag No More Fat DJ a while back.
Yep.
And there's a local guy here in Tampa, Rob Snyder, that pushed the same thing, that if you are out of shape, doesn't matter if you're fat or what it is, if you are out of shape, because skinny guys can be out of shape too, you are doing a disservice to your client, because you could just drop from having a heart. Like if you go through eye surgery like you did, John, that's not your fault. You've done everything you could to be healthy. But if you have a heart attack because you stuffed 20 fried Twinkies in your face the night prior, you did your client a disservice. And when Rob said that, a lot of DJs were like, oh, that's offensive. Well, it's the truth. We're in a performance-based business. You don't see, let me use an example. Christian Bale or whatever, eating stuffing his face full of Twinkies before he does Batman. No, you can't die in the middle of filming. Well, I mean, Heath Ledger did, but that's a different story. But I mean, DJs found that offensive when Rob said that. It goes, no, I mean, if you're out of shape, doesn't matter if you're fat or skinny, because I know, Chris Farley was a big guy, but yep. I think Chris Farley was in better shape than most people were. And if you guys don't believe me, go look up the Chris Farley sketch where he was a Chippendales dancer. I can't even do what he did.
No, for sure. He was a big man, but he could move.
Yeah, he could really move. And then, there was another photographer, and I'll be honest with you, he's an asshole. I don't like him. I don't know why he's in DJ groups, but whatever. I'll just leave it at that. But he talked about DJs doing the whole dancing and teaching people how to line dance, and I have mixed feelings on that. But he kept saying, I don't want to take photos of a greasy, sweaty DJ. And that's really sad, because that's not the first time I've heard people refer to DJs as greasy and sweaty. That is bad when we basically now have that stigma behind us. And we have to kind of kick that behind. DJs should not be sweaty. I mean, yes, we're on stage, we're rocking it, we're going to sweat a bit. But if you look like you just took a shower, again, doesn't matter how much you weigh, you're out of shape. So, but let's talk about the most important thing, John. Let's talk about our muscles. Not like, I work out, because clearly I don't. But you get a lot of DJs, and a lot of us, especially if we do productions the day after the event, like I'll use Jeremy as an example. You see these huge school setups that he does, and it's only him and a couple of guys, and you look at his setup like, damn, I know you got to wake up in pain. And I get that from a lot of DJs, like, I know you're in pain. I mean, yeah, I get tired the next day where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm worn out, mentally worn out, but physically, if I have to go set up again, yeah, I can set up again. So before I talk about my tip, John, what have you done to keep your muscles from aching as much as you can the next day?
As I've gotten a little older, the area that I noticed it the most actually was in the shoulders. And it's as you get above 40, it's very easy if you aren't doing some of those activities that keep those arms and muscles moving. You'll end up ripping and pulling and straining different rotor cuff aspects of the shoulder.
Oh yeah.
So it became a huge thing for me probably about 2 years ago that, okay, I'm tired of this. I went in for the different meeting with the doctors, and they did the MRIs and things. And they're like, yeah, you got a little tear here, a little tear there. They might heal, or we could do surgery. Like, I don't really want to be this guy in the brace for a month or two. So we took some time off, let them heal up. And then it becomes now prevention. And for myself, what I have done is I have children that are my teenage boys who are lift weights and such. And I have the whole half of a second shed in back here is full of weights. It's a weight room. Most of that I can't do anymore. It doesn't work with me anymore because I don't do the bulking up type lifting. It's doing some of the actual machines where you're doing a light, but you're doing more repetitions in the house. And generally either in the evening or in the morning, I have some bell weights. And I do some simple lifts and such to move these shoulders and do some different activities with the arms and shoulders. And it makes a huge difference.
I mean,
for one thing, before doing all this and such, because we're young and, we're always active. I was playing softball and all these things. So I never worried about the muscles in the upper body like that. But then I was finding out when I would sleep on my side, I'd wake up the next morning with this incredibly sore shoulder. And it's like, oh my God, what's going on? And that was happening time and time again. And that's where it took me to the doctor. But once you start strengthening up the muscles around, the chest and the back, the trapezius and the apex and such, and then of course the deltoid muscles and such, they'll strengthen a little bit. That helps to take some of that pressure off the joints. And I haven't had some of the shoulder issues in the last 6 months that I had prior to that.
Oh,
I can go and now put speakers up and I put lights up. That was another area. You've reached out, you're trying to put a light up off to the side a little bit at a weird angle as you're trying to do that. And you'd tweak the shoulder and the next day you'd feel it.
Absolutely.
Not so much anymore.
And it leads to the point also about not just, keeping yourself active before the event and, throughout your life, but especially stretching the morning of. And I think that's one of the things that I really want. I've been pushing my staff more, but I think I'm going to make it required because I don't want somebody getting hurt. But really, if you're going to be lifting heavy gear, you definitely need to be stretching before every event. However, ultimately, as we get older, our bodies do betray us. One of the things that my wife was using for her back, and I use it for myself, sometimes during the event if I know that I'm going to be feeling it, and always after, it's a patch called Salumpas. I'm going to go ahead and post a link on the chat, and I'm going to real quick share the screen cap. I won't be able to share it with you, John, but I'll share it with everybody else. So here's on Amazon. I just sent the link because that's much cheaper than it is at Walmart. There's 60 patches, and it's under $10. I kid you not. You put this anywhere, and the next day, the pain is pretty much gone. This is absolute magic. It's the closest thing to just putting lidocaine right in you. But it comes in a spray. It comes in multiple things. The patch, to me, is the easiest way because they're small. So I use those even after the event if I'm feeling it, especially my calves. I don't know if you feel it in your calves after the event, but
it depends what shoes I'm wearing, and that's another thing we'll get into.
Yeah,
as we
I definitely
want
to talk about feet on that too because there's quite a few ways on that. But we've had I try to avoid events without elevators as much as possible. But we've had some where the elevators are a huge pain. It's just easier taking the truss up and down the stairs. But after your fourth or fifth time, it's like, okay, this really sucks. The next day, you're just hurting and the back of your legs are burning. This has been great. Before my wife went through her surgery, she had her whole back covered with these things, and it helped. It's absolutely amazing. There is also this stuff in Latin America, and I'll also put the link on, and that is called Kafal. This stuff is so strong, you put it on racehorses when they're racing. I'm not kidding. You want to find the red one, the Kafal Fuerte. But if not, there's the regular Kafal, which the original is pretty strong too, and it doesn't burn as much. Guys, do not use this on your butt. There's a warning that says that.
Did you put the link in the chat too?
Yes, I'm putting the link on that. So what the Kafal is, it's basically almost like, I don't want to say Vicks Vapor Rub because it's not menthol, but it's almost like Bengay. But it is way stronger than Bengay could ever be. Way stronger. This is the Latin version of Bengay. And we don't have the FDA breathing down our throats about our necks about everything. So I don't know if everything on here is FDA approved in the U.S. Like I said, I've been using it for a while. This stuff is incredible. Rub yourself on it, especially if you have like wrist problems or anything like that, and it's great. And going back to the Salumpas, my wife, she has arthritis, and she actually put it, like she cut them into the little pieces, into little strips, and she had them around her knuckles right here. And within a few weeks, her fingers wouldn't hurt anymore. I'm telling you, that stuff is amazing. Now let's actually jump down to feet. For me, the number one thing, aside from using the Kafal, I have my anti-fatigue mat that I bought from Lowe's. There's also one at Bed Bath & Beyond, but just a good anti-fatigue mat. Do not get the cheap crap. If it's not at least $100, most likely it's not a true anti-fatigue, as I've learned. But I also bought steel toe boots, and I have the ones from Walmart, the Brahmas, which are really good, and I still stand by them. But if you have a Timberland Pro store, the Timberlands have the Ortho anti-fatigues on them, which are really good. The insoles, they're much lighter, so your feet isn't picking up as much weight. And boy, the steel toe on it's much, much more durable. What do you do regarding your feet, John? Do you use an anti-fatigue? Do you have any specialized shoes?
I do take mats, and I found I've had an anti-fatigue, and then I've gone with I just take actually a less expensive mat, because I found that the shoe and the arch support in the shoe is more important. Is definitely more important for me. I was just going to see if I could find one so you could put that link up and such, but I've got as you get older, when I hit 40. Then we start having some different ankle and lower leg problems, and then a case of plantar fasciitis. And it's like, well, what's causing this? Well, because of, in my case, I work out of the house quite a bit, and I didn't wear shoes in the house. Well, that was one of the things that they made sure. It's like, okay, you need to get decent tennis shoes or shoes for in a house that have a level of arch support. So, okay, great. I can find decent shoes, but if you go and you start looking for shoes that have decent arch support, you don't find, they just don't exist.
They don't.
You end up having to go and get something. And I was watching a video from a DJ who does things outside of our industry also, and he was doing a video on I'm trying to find that, on some boots that he was using, and those boots were just fabulous boots. And yet, the first thing he said is, I get the boots, and the first thing I do is throw out the inserts. And he puts in a better insert. Arnaldo, I'm just sending you that insert.
Okay.
This particular insert's the one that this Total Support. It's a Spenco, is what I've been using, and it's they're about $30 for a pair of those. But what I have done with those is taken my tennis shoes. I've taken my dress shoes. I actually also had a custom pair of insoles made for me, and doctor's visits and all those different things. I found that these in the shoes does a couple of different things. First off, I can go stand for the evening as long as I've got a little padding, whether it's on carpet or these little exercise squares. I'm in much better shape the next day. Secondly, is I don't have knee problems. I was having, if I'm not wearing inserts and such, it's not keeping the legs in line. There's a little bit of a tip one way or the other, depending upon which shoes I was wearing. And the next day I would have like the meniscus, it would be irritated either one or both knees. Having the inserts has definitely helped that. So in my world, if it doesn't have arch support, I'm not even going to look at it, or I've got to be able to put in some new inserts or these insoles in, and then I can function. And
Absolutely.
I will be much better the next day.
And I really want to point out that the machines at Walmart that read your feet, those are crap. Absolute crap. If you're not going to an actual podiatrist. And you mentioned the custom ones. My wife actually had a really bad case of plantar fasciitis, and luckily she's seeing an amazing podiatrist. She was supposed to get the custom insoles. We got her a different kind before we went to the podiatrist, which are good. They spent, I think they were like $60-$70 each, which was still money well worth it. The podiatrist said you may want to look into getting a custom pair. It's about $500. And my wife's like, that's a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, cheaper than a knee replacement. Because people don't realize that, I mean, the knee is basically, it's almost like the tie rod to the body. It's the first thing that's going to go out. There's so much pressure and impact that goes through it every day. Yeah, it might be $500 for a pair of inserts, but I think that's going to be worth it. And I told her, like, that's something not only that I want to get for you, that I'm eventually going to want to get for myself, because
for sure,
That's one thing that worries me. Like, well, what happens when my feet go? That's it. You're done. It's over. I did post a link to the Timberland Pro boots. Those are the ones that I use, super lightweight. And then I posted a link to the inserts that you recommended as well, which are a really good price. $32 for the pair is an awesome price. And these,
I'm really happy with those.
These are similar to the ones that my wife has. Let me real quick switch screens over here so you guys can see. It does have an aggressive arch support right here. Guys, I can tell right now it is going to be very uncomfortable wearing these for the first time, especially if you have worn flats or you're barefooted. You should not go barefooted. You should not wear flats. If you buy flip-flops or anything like that or Chuck Taylors, throw those away. Seriously, those are not DJ shoes or performance shoes or walking shoes. That's garbage.
I love my Chuck Taylors. I had 10 different pair that I was wearing when I was being a youth pastor. And then I had some custom ones that DJ John Young's made that were fabulous. But as you say,
yeah, so I mean, it's, I want to real quick pull up here. But right here, yeah, see, oh, crap. Yeah, that is an aggressive one. It's similar to my wife's, but once your feet get used to it, like...
it looks really aggressive, and you'd be like, oh, my gosh. But I kind of went from fairly flat soles in my inserts in a shoe to that. Because I picked up a pair of those, and then I did the Dr. Scholl's thing, because that's what my local GP said. Oh, go do that. That's what I do, and I've got them in my shoes. Well, I did that, and it really didn't do a darn thing for me. But the shoes that I had those in, I really liked. I would feel better, especially if I was wearing them for a period of time. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of getting used to it. I'm not going to say there's not, but...
Oh, absolutely. And real quick, Omega said that if we're interested in doing like one with actual medical advice and full ergonomics, he's a doctor in real life. So that would be really cool. Because like I said, none of this is, hey, we're doctors. This is stuff that I've used, that's worked for me, that have come from, like, for example, the whole thing with the Timberlands, that did come from one of the podiatrists that I talked to. So Omega, yeah, we'd love to have you on the show for sure, because I don't want to go too deep into it because of the liability. You already know what I'm talking about, John. I'm sure you do too, when it comes to really going too deep into that.
These are just things that have worked for us, and some people are not going to, like, now Lori, she did not care for that. She ended up finding a different insert that worked better for her, and it's, that's just the way each, everyone's foot is different.
So we've talked about our feet, we've talked about muscle pain. Now let's talk about the other important part, and that's our voice. We don't want our, voice to be completely destroyed. Now, I don't want to go too much into how to speak properly. I'd actually want to bring my friend Jake, because he did a great seminar on how to breathe and speak properly so your voice isn't hurting the next day. But ultimately, it's going to hurt, especially if you're running a production and all you're doing is screaming at idiot employees or even smart employees that are acting dumb. So it's one of those things that my voice does go out. And John, you've been to trade shows. Your voice is going to go out no matter what happens at trade shows.
For sure. You can hear it on our videos by day 2 or day 3. You and I sound like we're croaking up there.
Yep. So I have found 2 things that have been really good for me. One of them is actually big thanks to Ruthie from ADJ. And these are called the doTERRA Breathe Respiratory Drops. I am going to real quick post a link on that as well. So these are for supposedly for, to help you and cool nasal airways. But what I found is literally after taking a couple of these, it's almost like the lozenges, except I don't like the taste of lozenges. All it does is numb my throat. My voice is still gone. This completely opened up my nasal airways. I could actually talk. I didn't sound like Fran Drescher. My throat still hurts, so I still took a little bit of Robitussin. But, John, if you remember at Infocom, or no, at NAMM 2 years ago, after the second day, my voice was completely out. And then I did the videos for you and Jeremy, and my voice was back to normal. This is what I took. This stuff is killer. I won't go anywhere without it. Not just if my voice is gone, but if I have a sinus infection or anything like that, these, whatever the hell they're called, the respiratory drops are incredible. They are like cough drops from heaven.
Did you post? You're not live full screen, are you?
No, I'm gonna real quick share it so people can see. But I did just post a link on here as well.
I see the link. Yep.
So there it is there. These are absolutely incredible. So I've had good luck with that. There is also, I'll post a link thing here. This is called Sapol. It is similar to Vicks Vapor Rub, except it's not crap. There's the Latin thing where, the Latin meme or stereotype that we put, Vapor Rub on everything. We do because they don't sell this in the U.S. At least before Amazon, they didn't. This stuff is absolutely amazing. It's mostly menthol, eucalyptus. If you cook it, I'm pretty sure it turns into meth.
By itself.
Yeah, no, this stuff is incredible. And I'm going to reference this back a few times, but I will tell you that the moment we'll buy this before we pay the electric bill, because we cannot live without this. I can live without electricity. This stuff is absolutely incredible. So what happens is, if it's like Windex, you can put it on anything, right? If I feel like I have sinus congestion, I'll put it on my chest, and the next day I'm fine. If I get swimmer's ear pretty easily, I will actually put that stuff right behind my ears on this area here, and then I'm good. If I have major sinus infections, I mean, I'll inhale that like it's Coke. This kind, John, settle down. No, I'll just inhale it, or I'll put some underneath. It burns, but I'll put some underneath here. And then I'll go over the second tip later. There's one more thing you can do with it. It's an old wives' tale, but it works. But this stuff has been absolutely incredible for me. So between this and those drops that I was telling you about, my voice is fine. You know, that and breathing properly helps, but ultimately we lose our voice, and it's been great. When I have to use this stuff, it is wonderful. What have you used to help your throat?
Really, I think the biggest, I've obviously used some cough drops here and there as I've been doing things, but the biggest thing that I need to remember is to use the microphone and let the microphone do its job. And especially when we're at trade shows, because it's so easy for us to, because we assume the room is so loud, and not realizing that microphone that we're holding and we're talking into can pick us up pretty darn well. We don't have to yell into the microphone. We can be talking in our regular voice and directing it through our regular tonality, which isn't harmful on our vocal cords. So I think it's more of a prevention than really having anything that works to fix it once it's damaged or once it's stressed out.
Oh, absolutely.
And then at trade shows, if I've had a rough day, we get into the evening and I don't talk that much.
Well,
some people are like, are you tired? It's like, well, yeah, a little tired, but I'm not talking much.
So it's been, the other part, I guess, that I want to jump into them, since we just talked about this part, is what happens when we do get sick the night prior to the event. We feel the flu coming in. Ultimately, number one, most people say go see a doctor. I have a horrible fear of doctors. No disrespect, Omega. I don't see doctors. I just have a bad fear of it. Like, I feel every time I go to a doctor, or a friend goes to a doctor, oh, you've got this and this and this wrong with you, and then there's like a million other things they found wrong, and then suddenly that person's feeling like crap the next day. So I try not to put that bad juju on me. I'm not telling you guys to do the same. I know my body. I know how good my immune system is, and so do you. So if you need to see a doctor, go see a doctor. But I don't, even if I had to, I don't like seeing a doctor the night prior, because first of all, with sinus infections, people don't realize that if you take, let's say, whether it's amoxicillin or Bactrim or anything like that, you get the shits. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. That's what antibiotics does to you. So I always tell DJs, if you have to take antibiotics, unless your doctor's really pushing it, take it after the gig, because you're going to be the whole time during the event, because that's what antibiotics does to you. I have found there's three things that I do, John. And one of them is an old wives' tale, but it works. Have you ever heard a thing about putting Vapor Rub or the Vicks Vapor Rub on your feet? Yeah, I use the Sapol. Yeah. Vapor Rub does not work. It doesn't. At least for me, it's never worked. The Sapol does. I do it generously. I'll put it on my feet. I'll put it on my chest. Next day, I'm fine. If I'm running a fever, I try to break the fever as quickly as possible. And people don't realize that, fevers are good. Fevers are basically your body overheating from fighting the infection. My wife years ago could not get a fever, and she would get sick often. I'm like, Monica, your body's not able to fight that fever off, fight that flu or infection off. You're supposed to be fevering. So guys, if you're not fevering, you definitely need to go see a doctor. But when I do fever, John, I treat my body like I treat a car. You gotta have good tires, gotta take care of the shocks, and if your car's overheating, do whatever you can to get it to cool down. And for me, it's just cold towel, put it in ice, and I'm telling you, the Sapol on my feet has been great. But there's two things that I take before I resort to antibiotics. One of them is Sudafed. We all know Sudafed, but there's a new version of Sudafed, well, new-ish, and I want to say it's the cold and sinus.
Yep.
It comes in By the way, do not get the generics. I am all about generics, but not Sudafed. I have tried every generic of Sudafed. None of them have worked as great as the actual Sudafed. So let me switch over here. It is this one. Why the hell is this cheaper than Walmart? Are you serious? It's like $14 at Walmart. Are you kidding me? That's funny. Omega's like, I don't go to doctors either.
Well,
so the difference between this one, John, and the regular Sudafed is that this is made for, again, I get bad sinus pressure. So this is made for pressure and pain and cold. So you have acetaminophen, you have the phenylephrine, you have the guaifenesin, you have the dextromethorphan, or thorphan, which, you have your pain reliever, fever reducer, nasal decongestant. It's basically an all-in-one medicine. I take this the night prior, like religiously, for 24 hours. I take it every 4 hours. John, it is just wonderful. It goes away for me. And it's also non-drowsy, so it's good to drive in. Most people think, okay, Sudafed, duh. But I'm telling you, it's the pressure and pain that works better than anything else for me. It has been great. Also, Robitussin. We all know Robitussin, but don't get the actual Robitussin. I kid you not, go to Walgreens and pick up the Waltussin. There's something about the generic version that to me has been instantaneous. When I get a really bad coughs that, come nonstop and I get those bad, that stuff will stop it for quite some time. There's also one more tip. It was given to me. I haven't done this in a long time because my coughs have never gotten that bad. But go to Spencer's. Go to the adult section. I'm never going to lift this down, John. Get the deep throat spray. So...
Or you can get the Secrets spray also. That'll do about the same thing. What he's trying to do.
The Spencer's version is better. I don't know.
It's a numbing of the throat to take that bite off, and you can suck on a Sucret.
Deep throat spray.
Deep throat spray. Yeah, that's tonight's show is all about the deep throat spray.
Well, the big difference is that the medicated stuff still has like cough syrup and everything in it, and you've got to be really careful messing with anything that has cough syrup in it. You can't take that. And you can't take cough drops, supposedly. I take cough drops every time that I need them, which can be as much as a bag an entire day if I have to. You're not supposed to. But if you mix that and you mix it with the actual Secrets or anything, any of the spray like that, yeah, that can make you drowsy pretty fast. Again, I haven't had to go that route in a long time. I think it's been maybe 6 years since I've had to go to Spencer's for that. And again, laugh all you guys want. Take the label off the bottle. Please take the label off the bottle, or you're going to have some major explaining to do to the bridesmaids. What's that?
Well, you want a squirt, honey?
So, yeah, that's been one of the things that has really worked. But the Waltussin has been incredible. And there's two versions that Walgreens sells of the Waltussin. There's like a long-lasting one. That one's been really good for me. I've had pretty good success with that. And again, as far as, getting to craps, again, you guys got to know your body. If you know that McDonald's doesn't agree with you, here's an idea.
Do it.
Don't go to McDonald's. For me, I know like what I can and can't do. And a lot of times, like, there's been times where, like, especially lately, I get stressed and my stomach just gives out completely. To the point that I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So the night prior, if I have to take an antidiuretic or whatever it takes, that's fine, but I'm not going to be going to Taco Bell the next day. Just plain and simple. And I'm not taking antibiotics the night prior. I cannot stress this enough. Antibiotics kill the good bacteria in your stomach. There's supposed to be bacteria in your stomach. There's good flora in there. When you kill that good bacteria, because amoxicillin will kill it, Bactrim will kill it. What's the other one? Is it Keflex? I can't remember. There's another one that also kills it pretty much instantaneously, and that's why runny discharge is normal. Don't mess with
runny discharge.
Yeah. Don't be
taken away from tonight's show. Well, deep throat spray and runny discharge. Yeah.
So, and DJs, if you smoke, here's an idea. Don't. There ain't no reason for you to. Seriously. Switch to vaping. I don't care. There's no reason for you to smoke. It's stupid. I just saw some comments funny enough about smoking. Yeah, just don't do it. There's no reason for it. You don't care about your client if you're coming in smelling like cigarette smoke. Plain and simple. Sure. You'll never convince me otherwise. You don't care about your client, and you guys can quote me on that. And Tim, love you to death, man, but stop smoking. It's not good for you.
Not good for you at all.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, earlier somebody had asked because they were familiar with last year with my eye surgeries, and generally,
oh yeah,
as that started early September. And if there was no announcing or no preparedness I could do before starting to get in these eye surgeries that I had with these retina. And they were asking if I'd missed a show. And by fortune and by assistance, I was able to perform. I ended up doing 2 high school dances, 2 homecoming dances that I typically do, and I had 4 weddings that we did last fall. Part of it was that I had Lori. She was with me, driving me to places, helping set up and different things. There was one of the events that I did this is what I could see people. I could tell people were in the room. I could see kind of everything was super, super blurry. It was kind of like looking through a water glass. I knew there were people at the head table, but I'm telling Lori, it's like, okay, Lori, you got to be you're going to have to tell me facial expressions. What's going on at the head table? I need to know if somebody's anything, because I can't see that far. But we made it through, and it was, she was a gamer for that. So it just happened that the doctors also were able to work my surgeries around my schedule. So it's like, okay, we know we have a wedding at this date. They were able to schedule and move me up or move me back a little bit to try to get these surgeries done as soon as possible, because my eyes were much closer to total detachment of retinas than they thought.
Oh, wow.
So it was an uncomfortable time, but we made it work. So it was just a really fortunate. I mean, if I would have had something where I had one of those surgeries and I had to DJ, 2 days later, it could have been a different story, but everything worked out well in that.
So while you were talking about that, and there's no easy way to segue, so we'll just jump right into it. Chris asked, what do you think about health and energy, or in sense of energy or lack of? One of the things sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is one you're probably not going to be able to talk about too much yet, Arnaldo. But
no, actually,
go ahead. You start, and I'll probably take it a different direction. But go ahead. I'll let you start this one.
When I was in high school, I suffered really bad from fatigue. I slept through every one of my classes. I slept through every one of my college classes. I slept through calculus. I could not stay awake. So while everybody thinks I'm a fireball of energy, I actually struggle with energy quite a bit. That's the first time that I've actually admitted that out in public. But I do suffer with energy. Because my schedule is really wonky, John, I go to bed around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I sleep in until 11 or 12. Thank God teachers are on the same schedule. What I have learned is that whoever came up with you have to have 8 hours of sleep to be energetic was full of shit. There is zero medical evidence of that. Zero. You guys can look it up. That's myth. You have to have sleep, obviously. Your body has to recover, but it doesn't necessarily have to be 8. So where am I going with this? I don't know. No. Don't change your regime the night prior. So I was always on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And then I had one of my biggest problems ever. And John, I decided, I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to be well rested. I woke up the next day feeling like shit. Like I woke up after 5 hours. I'm like, oh, no, I need to go back to sleep. I wake up. I could not wake up. Like I was dragging ass. 5 hour energy does not work on me. I'm allergic to Red Bull. Mountain Dews. I can drink Mountain Dew and go to sleep 30 minutes after. So that doesn't do anything for me. Caffeine does not do nothing, or does nothing for me. But don't change your regime. Don't decide, I'm going to try out a new diet. Don't decide, hey, I'm going to go to the gym the night prior. No, that's a horrible idea. Whatever you're doing that's working for you, do it the night before the event. If you're going to try something new, do it a couple days after. Don't do it the night before an event, because that's how you screw your energy levels up. 5 hour energy drinks, crap. Don't drink that. I don't care what people say. No. If you need 5 hour energy drinks, something's wrong, plain and simple. And you need to figure out what it is, whether it's your sleeping habits, whether it's the way that you take care of yourself, mentally prepare, eat. Energy, food is so important. Don't be eating, and this is common sense, don't be eating just 2 or 3 big meals. Eat smaller meals. Keep your blood sugar, and understand where your blood sugar is. Just because you aren't hypoglycemic, like I'm not hypoglycemic, at least I haven't been diagnosed. How the hell would I know? I haven't been to a doctor. But John, I do get low blood sugar. I will black out if I don't get enough sugar, which is why I'm always drinking Mountain Dew or something, eating at all times. I have to have sugar in me or I just pass out. And I'm not going to sit there and try to figure that out the night before the gig. Well, I'm going to eat healthy. No, screw that. I'm going to do the same thing I do because it works for me. If I'm going to try something new, it's going to be after the event. How about you?
Keeping that schedule, I think just a couple of things there, and then we'll go a different direction. But keeping that same schedule, same routine, I think is so critical. And that it goes as far as eating also.
Yeah.
If you're used to eating it, great. I've got myself to the point where I'm not used to eating French fries and I'm not used to eating fried food. And that means again, the Saturday thing is horrible. So the schedule, sleep on a schedule, that consistent schedule, whatever that is. That's one of the reasons why I really hate summer. This is because when we have school in session with the children, we are on a schedule, and I'm used to that schedule. And then we get into summer and it gets thrown all off. And there are some nights, like last night, it was midnight before the kids went to bed. And that lack of consistency just screws with me as much as it does them. But I want to go a different direction with the energy thing, because now we're speaking as a person who's getting close to 50. And you'll find as you get, and many of you probably are here or you've had this diagnosis also, but as a male who's getting closer to 50, we're starting to see our testosterone levels starting to drop. And the testosterone, what that really does is that will help in obviously many different ways, but to give an idea for us is that it's that energy, it's that drive, and that ability to go out and do things and it really contain our weight also is all kind of tied into this.
Yep.
And again, this is a very layman idea. As we are progressing, our testosterone levels drop as we age. So that's something that we get into. And I've got numerous friends that are dealing with this as we're getting older. Some are able to, dietary changes has helped. Some of them are starting to have to do some medicating, and some of them are having to do to the point where they're not creating virtually any testosterone, and they're having to do injections. It's one of those things that is a huge culprit, and we get to be 45, 50, and we're like, gosh, I just don't have the energy. Some things will help, just going out and going for a daily walk, going out for an hour walk a day. You don't have to go jogging and running. If you can, great. You can become a Rob Snyder, but most of us probably will never get like that. So we go and we do other things. And I hate to say it.
Or Marcello.
Yeah, exactly. Those guys are going to, they'll be, cut for the rest of their lives going on. But one of the, another thing that keeps the testosterone level higher is spending time with your significant other and getting, those romantic times and such that Arnaldo's kind of, that works. And there are studies that show that having a relationship with someone, and they show that at more in a married or a consistent relationship than going and paying for relationships, if you know what I'm saying, definitely helps that part of your life. So, I mean, there's things you can do to help that, but eventually as we get older, the testosterone levels fall, our energy levels fall, and it becomes harder for us to, keep weight off. And that's an unfortunate reality of being menopause for men.
That's a real thing too. I'm glad Omega brought that up.
So yeah, it's all tied into that. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you some of the things I've heard, some of the things I've been looking at as my friends are sharing this, and I'm trying to, to a point, understand so I can be sympathetic or having an idea of what they're going through, because we'll all get there someday.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because first of all, everybody's going to be like, honey, when you have sex, I heard it on a live stream. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And you could tell them that I was the one who suggested it, which is really ironic.
Yeah. And if you guys could listen to us while you're doing it, that'd be great. I think it's like, you can. So anyways, I'm actually glad you brought that, because one of the things that, Omega talked about menopause for men, which actually is a thing, but we also need to talk about taking frequent vacations, mini vacations.
Yeah.
My wife and I will do retail therapy. If you ever watch Parks and Rec, treat yourself. And it may sound like such a girl thing to do. Oh, go shopping. But guys, we work hard. And ladies, we work hard for our money. If you can't spend it on something nice for yourself, you're literally going to that mental drain of, oh my God, I'm doing this every day, nothing to show for it. I bought myself a new truck. Technically, I should have. It was a bad financial decision. I can afford it, but I could have put that towards savings. But for what? I could literally die tomorrow. I already have a savings account. But if I can't spend something nice on me once in a while, it just becomes a drab. And it's not a midlife crisis thing. Like, we have to eventually treat ourselves, take a break. I'm not saying go and buy yourself a new car, but go take your wife out to the movies, like John said. Go buy yourself that new drone you wanted. If you have a nice car, go and get it treated to a brand new nice wax. Go get yourself some new clothes. Do something to really just give yourself that me time. Really be able to relax. And then John, because I know you have to go in about 8 minutes, so if you have to go, we'll do the drawing there. Let's talk about the most important thing. We can't mix without our ears. Ears are our most important part. I absolutely hate it after every event that I had the ringing in my ears. It was always a concern for me.
Yes.
So needless to say, I switched to in-ear monitors. I cannot stress how important it is. Look, guys, there's a lot of things you could do. Right? You could say, well, wear earplugs. Okay, well, kind of difficult when you're mixing.
Yep.
There are the earplugs that, basically tune down the volume without changing the overall tone or sound. I hate those. They gave me anxiety. In-ear monitors change because, first of all, there is the advantage that now people, will come up to me. It doesn't matter where I'm listening to music or not. They leave me alone. So that's always a handy plus. But ever since I switched to in-ear monitors, first of all, my mixing's tighter because I can hear it better. But now I'm not having the loud music behind me the whole time because I've got these things blocking 20 decibels, which is a hell of a lot.
Yes.
I'll put those on just to ignore freaking children. And because today's show is brought to you by Ultimate Ears, I do want to talk about it. And that's what I use. I use Ultimate Ears, but I switched to in-ear monitors not just for the sound, but for the fact that when I put them on at NAMM, John, they got quiet. I could hear the voice perfectly that was talking to me, explaining to me about everything. Man, when I took them off, I'm like, holy crap, my ears were hurting because people don't realize, we get ear fatigue. That's the thing. You get, if you guys don't believe me, try this. Tonight, watch TV at a very loud volume. Like, just gradually increase it, and then turn it off before you go to bed. Turn it back on, and I guarantee the next day is going to sound loud as hell because of ear fatigue. Speaker fatigue is a thing. Ear fatigue is a thing. Combine both together, and that's why distortion happens because we keep turning things up louder, and both things, ears and speakers, are failing down, which we're going to talk about that tomorrow, too. But, that's one of the really big important things is we're in-ear monitors, DJs. I know they're not cheap, okay? My in-ear monitors cost about $1,500. You can get them a lot cheaper. You can get them as cheap as, a few $100. But you know what's more expensive than that, John? Ear surgery and hearing aids.
What's more expensive? Just the ability to not be able to hear.
Yeah.
Is just, it's crazy that, that people are, I'm not going to spend that money. That's money thrown. No, you're foolish.
No, it's, and guys, I kid you not. This isn't just because Ultimate Ears is hosting the show or promoting the show. It's the honest truth. Ever since I switched to IEMs, I have not had ringing in my ears at all. I can tell you that not many DJs who use headphones can say the same thing. They all get ringing in the ear, especially if you're working the nightclubs, concert halls. Those places are loud. But
for sure,
as we get older, our ears do become more sensitive. And the nice thing about, the IEMs is that it does prevent a lot of the vibrations from the bass. It's not just the loud volumes. It's the bass vibrations that shake the cilia in your ear, the little hairs. And after a while, they stop shaking. And you're done for.
You kind of die, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, it's... So, guys, like I said, Chris Davis asked, does anybody wear decibel reducers in the ears? I do have them. Wearing decibel reducers and wearing headphones at the same time is the worst feeling in the world. Get in-ear monitors. I promise you won't switch back. If you want to give it a test drive, these are the Shure. These are not in-ear monitors, but these are just regular Shure headphones. They do a good job blocking it. Try mixing with them. John, I thought it was going to be weird mixing and taking them off to listen to people. Not at all. And as a matter of fact, now I have people come up and like, oh, can I make a request? Or, hey, I wanted to... Sorry. Oh, we'll come back later. They never come back.
Yep.
They never come back. I would pay the $1,500 even if there wasn't an IEM just to get people to start telling me, I'll come back, and they don't come back. Yes. So, I encourage requests. That's fine. I think DJs that don't allow requests are silly because if you go to a restaurant and you place an order, well, guess what? You're making a request, so you can't use that analogy. But for me, it's like, yeah, I allow requests, but to have people not bug me while I'm mixing, it's wonderful. So I definitely do recommend that. What about you, John? Anything ear safety-wise you do?
I've got some custom ear filters, basically, that will bring things down about 20 decibels that I had made from a company from NAMM, and I made these 3 years ago, and I can wear them with headphones. And basically, they are, once they're in, there's a little string that pulls them out. That's what I use when I'm DJing, and I need to be able to do the queuing and such. I do have some different filters that I use, like if I'm doing pretty much anything around the house, the yard, and running a lawnmower, I'm wearing some sort of hearing protection now. But I've got some really nice ones that we made that do a great job, can knock that sound down and such, and it allows me to function, which is a huge thing. Because the next day when you got that, even at night, trying to go to sleep and you've got that ringing in your ear, and that sucks.
No, absolutely. And real quick, somebody asked about why I chose the Ultimate Ears. I'll post a review on that because John has to do his show in a couple of minutes. So, John, do you want to jump in and let's do the giveaway, right?
Yep.
So,
we can certainly do that.
Today's giveaway is the Line Drive. Now, what this was a line driver, which is basically a headphone amplifier, because DJ mixers have really crappy amplifiers, plain and simple. Now, my Yamaha AG06 has a great line driver built in, but most DJ mixers don't. So why do you want a line driver? Well, first of all, it makes the sound in your headphones a lot clearer. But this is really important, not just for critical mixing, but you don't want distorted bass being fed in your ears. It doesn't sound good. Again, you'll turn it louder as you get ear fatigue and you're hurting your ears, because it's much easier to hurt your ears with in-ear monitors when you crank it all the way up. The cleanest sound possible is paramount to being able to make sure that, you don't blast your ears out. And a line driver said, I think it's like $300 or something like that, but it sounds incredible. Now, this is made for the Ultimate Ears monitors, but I've used them with my V-Modas, and the bass hits. It sounds like I'm in my car with these things. I've used them with American Audios. I have the old Technics headphones. I have the Sony XD70s or whatever, the studio standard ones. Sure. And this line driver is awesome, and it's so tiny. It's about this size. So I'm going to give everybody instructions. You guys know what to do. I am going to tell everybody to stop typing now, so no one type anything at all. And what's going to happen is when I say go, you will type in your name. You're going to type it only once. If you type it multiple times, you will get disqualified for not being able to read. After about a minute or so, then we will choose the winner. And John, if you have to go, I totally understand.
Yep, I've got to bounce here. So Arnaldo, right. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for being with tonight and hanging out. And we will catch you guys. We're going to be going live here in about 3 minutes.
John, you want to, while everybody types in their name, do you want to tell them what your show's about and how they can find your next show?
Tonight, we're going to be talking about 7 ways to be a better DJ without practicing, looking at some aspects of things you can do without having to get in front of a crowd and to do some different things. We always talk about practicing, but here's going to be 7 tips of some things that you can do on your own to be a better DJ. And you guys can go out to youtube.com/discjockeynews, and you'll be seeing the live player right there.
Awesome. Guys, as soon as we log off this chat, go over to Disc Jockey News, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, unless you're a loser, and watch the stream. That's actually going to be really good. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, it should be fun. Thanks, Arnaldo. We'll catch you later.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you being part of the show.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and start picking out the winners. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in, too. This was something that I'm really passionate about because, again, I do have the bragging point that I haven't had to go to the doctor. Now that I said that, it's going to happen. But I've never had to go to the doctor. And these are things that have helped me out so much. Let's see here. I'm copying in all the names. Paul Gee, hey, good seeing you, man. I have not seen you in any of these live streams. Now, I do think this is an international prize. I do believe Ultimeter said they will ship internationally. If they don't, we can see if you want to pay the difference in shipping out of the United States. But give me 1 second here, and let's check while you guys put in the rest of your names. Remember, we'll only put it in once. Let me see what Ultimate Ear said. And we haven't dropped any frames, by the way. This is beautiful. Let's see. Okay, they said it's international. We can ship it to anybody. So that is awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. Okay. Let's see here. Did we miss anybody? The last one I have is DJ or Scott, basically. Did we miss anyone? Now, I'm going to go to random.org. And on random.org, I'm going to copy the names. I'm actually going to do it in front of you guys, too, so you can see. Because I don't want anybody thinking, oh, I'm, rigging the prize or anything like that. So we're going to go to random.org. Let's go ahead and get that prize. Here we go. There's random.org. Here's all the names that everybody typed in. All right. And yes, guys, please make sure to hit the like button. There's 34 of you watching and only 12 likes. So can we change that, please? All right. Now I'm going to copy in all the names. All right, is everybody ready? Can we get a drum roll, please? Brrr. And the winner is Donald Fair. Donald Fair. Congratulations, sir. Donald Fair. I need you to do me a favor, Donald. I would like you to add me on Facebook. Matter of fact, all of you guys add me on Facebook. But, Donald, add me on Facebook. Send me a message. Let's get you in touch with the great folks at Ultimate Ears. And then real quick, before I let you go, let's talk about the actual, the rest of the contest, because I have done some changes to the schedule. I want to make sure you guys are up to date on the schedule. So let me write that in real quick here. Garrett first. Reviews. I'm sorry. Giveaway. Let's go ahead and take a look. Donald, make sure you send me a message. Congratulations. So, guys, check out the new schedule. Tomorrow, great show. We've got Mike Dussault from Electro Voice, from Bosch, Electro Voice. We're going to talk about getting real sound from your rig. So, even if you use EV, these tips are still going to apply to you. This is so important because you want to make sure your system sounds good. So, real sound from your rig. The winner is going to get a pair of the ZLX 15P incredible sounding speakers. This is going to be open to the US and Canada, but again, if you're from the UK, please make sure to tune in anyways. Then on the 20th, that's tentative right now. I got to make sure because they're just headed for the 19th and I got to switch out. But on the 20th, we have Global Trust America. We're going to talk about creative trust designs, making more money with trust, and we're going to give away the Ultimate Trust Kiosk. That may change, but I'll let you know by tomorrow. On the 24th, we have Audio Technica. We're going to talk about differences in microphones and headphones. They're going to give away 2 pairs of the ATH M50X headphones. Beautiful sounding things. Wait till you hear them. They're amazing. On the 26th, we have Eliminator Lighting. They're going to be doing a show, or we're going to be doing a show called What Lighting Do You Need? Because not everybody needs really expensive, lighting all the time. You can make some incredible stuff with basic lights. Or even DJ lighting. But Eliminator's really stepping it up. In case you did not see at the Infocom show, you'll definitely see it at the DJ Expo show. And then we're going to talk about laser safety on the 28th with Justin from Pangolin. This is going to be a pre-recorded show. However, after the show's over, we're going to do a live Q&A. The reason is because Pangolin is very particular on their quality. They want to make sure that everything comes out right the first time. So we want to pre-record that part of the show, and then we're going to be doing the live stream. But again, same bat time, same bat channel. Laser safety. The winner of that's going to get an FP3 and a quick show license. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Did you like the content? Do you want to see more stuff like it? Leave it in the comments below. And as always, big thanks to John for tuning in. Guys, do me a favor. Show John some love and go tune into his live stream right now. I'm going to let all of you guys know, or go. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Go on GearItFirst.com and just search IEMs. You can see my review on the Ultimate Ears. I absolutely love and endorse in every way, shape possible. Even before they were kind and generous to give out a price. Love Ultimate Ears. I have the Boom. Love the Boom. Love the UE11 Pros. They have the step up from there as well, but the 11 Pros were perfect for what I do as a DJ. Love them. They sound great. They feel great. They don't hurt my ears. And they don't use the regular molds. They actually scan your ear with like 3D technology. Totally worth it. You're going to love them. Go check them out. And make sure you let them know that I sent you. Guys, have a great evening. God bless. Arnaldo Offerman, here at Gear It First. Oh, and last thing. Big thanks to Major Bless City. They gave me these cool shirts. They actually fit great too. I like the shirts. So definitely check them out on Instagram. Just search Major Bless City. Let them know that I sent you as well. Show them some love too. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Thank you, John. Thank you, Justin. Have a good night. God bless.